In a small village of Abanji, there lived two best friends. Their names were Aisha and Kemi. They grew up together. They fetched water from the same river. The villagers would say, "If you see Aisha, Kemi is not far behind." They cooked together, they shared everything, food, secrets, and even dreams. They were like two birds flying in the same sky. Aisha was kind and gentle. She always helped children. Kemi was beautiful and strong, but she sometimes felt unhappy inside. When they came of age, many men sought their hands, but fate chose differently for each. Amina married a hardworking man named Abdul, a man respected across the village for his bravery and calm spirit. Their home became a place of peace, laughter. Kemi, however, was not so fortunate. The man she loved left the village in search of riches and never returned. Though she smiled in public, her heart grew heavy with loneliness. At first, Kemi remained close to Aisha, visiting her often. She would help her cook and fetch water. But each time she saw how Abdul treated Aisha with love, her heart became heavy. Slowly, something began to change within her. One day, Kemi sat alone and said to herself, "Why does Aisha have everything? Why not me?" she would whisper in the silence of the night. That thought did not leave her mind. It grew bigger and stronger each day. One evening, Kemi went to see an old woman who lived at the edge of the village. The old woman was a witch, known for her strong herbs. Kemi said, "I want a man to love me." The old woman looked at her and asked, "A man?" Kemi replied, "Yes, a man." She was quiet for a moment, then she said softly, "I want another woman's husband." The old woman became serious. "That part is dangerous. It will bring you pain." But Kemi did not listen. The old woman gave her a small bottle. "Put this in her food," she said. "But remember, bad actions always bring bad endings." Kemi took the bottle and left. After some days, Aisha invited Kemi to her home for a meal. They talked and laughed like old times. But Kemi's heart was beating fast. As Amina turned her back to fetch water, Kemi's hands trembled. She slowly poured the dark liquid into Aisha's soup. Her heart pounded loudly. "I must do it," she whispered. After some time, Aisha began to feel pain. She held her stomach and cried out. That night, Aisha felt terribly ill. The village healer was called, but nothing worked. Her body weakened, her voice faded, and before morning Aisha was gone. The entire village wept. Abdul was broken. He sat beside her body for hours, crying. The joy in his home had been stolen. Kemi stood among the mourners, her face covered, her heart pounding with terror. "Now he will be mine," Kemi thought. Weeks passed. Kemi began visiting Abdul more often, helping him to cook meals and offer comfort. At first, Abdul resisted. But grief is a heavy burden, and slowly, he began to accept her presence. Eventually, Abdul agreed to marry Kemi. Kemi finally got what she wanted. But she did not get peace. Every night, Kemi could not sleep. She would hear sounds in the dark. Sometimes, she would hear Aisha's voice calling her name. "Kemi, why did you do this?" Kemi would wake up in fear. The house became cold and quiet. She stopped eating well. She would see shadows moving in the corners of the hut. Kemi would wake up trembling, her body covered in sweat. One night, during a heavy storm, Kemi could no longer bear it. She ran out into the rain and fell to her knees. "I did it," she cried out. "I poisoned her. I killed my own friend, Aisha." The villagers heard her and came out. They were shocked. They stood in silence as Kemi confessed everything. Tears streamed down her face. "I was jealous. I wanted her life. But now, I have nothing." The elders of the village gathered. They listened to her confession. Then one elder said, "You have done a terrible thing. You took a life because of jealousy." Kemi cried and begged for forgiveness, but the elder shook his head. "Some actions cannot be undone. You must face the result." They gave her a punishment. She must leave the village and never return. Kemi accepted it. Abdul stood at the doorway, crossing his hand, his face filled with pain, not just from loss, but from betrayal. She left the village alone. No one followed her. No one said goodbye. Years later, people traveling through the forest usually say there was a lonely mad woman living far away inside the forest. She prayed every day and asked her ancestors for forgiveness. She always said, "Do not be jealous. It will destroy your life." Back in the village, the story of Aisha and Kemi was told to children at night. It became a lesson for everyone. Moral of the story: jealousy can lead you to do bad things. And when you do, regret will follow you forever.